Shall we start? Very the students, right? Because of that reason. Which one who are joining online? Are you okay to start? Still two members are visible. So are you audible enough?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
So last week actually we discussed about the procedures. Today I am planning to repeat that and continue the same activity for other account balances. I know that you have kind of a basic understanding now about audit planning and risk assessment. So it's a good foundation to start the initiate audit and carry out the conclusion stage, right? Just last week we started from fixed asset. Last intangible asset we completed that, and then we started one. Likewise, we are completing each and every balance. So then after this activity, after this area number 3, you should have kind of a capability to decide, perform what are the procedures for kind of a balance. Basically, if you were requested to verify a balance, what you are going to do? Imagine you are not aware about this auditing, TOC, walkthrough. You don't know. Someone asked from you, how you are going to ensure this? How you are going to verify this? So then, what are things you are going to do? So you have to have kind of a self-suggestion for the procedures. So that's a requirement. Otherwise, you are looking at some balance and then here I am giving kind of a lecture. What are the steps? You are taking a notes and you are putting that to the exam paper. That is not the case, right? So whatever the position you are going to head in near future should have that passion to verify, or you may be the auditee. So the auditor may request some items or whatever the details to verify it. So then once you are giving it, you have to ensure that quality is there. Otherwise, you are giving halfway to documents. So already you have done it. You have done it, you have completed it, but you can't present it. You don't have that, the documentation. So then you can lead to a team to do proper documentation of the things you are doing. Email again, approval again, you don't have a proper process. So to build up a proper process, you have that understanding. You can focus again, right? To take the real value from the subject. If it is so, the pass mark for the final exam may be a 5. It's a 1 by 1 balance set on here and steps, procedures, or the diagram. The main balance is very quite that's what end of the day you may have bulky note to know the pre-code. What you can ordinary level type end of the day you may have a list of procedures, list of assertions, test steps, TOC, substantive procedures, what are the a balance එක බලලා practically decide කරන type එකට change කරන්න. නැත්නම් බෑ. ඔයා මේව මතක තියාගත්තොත් cash and cash equivalent, these are the procedures. So the inventory, so the total, these are the procedures. So then cash and cash equivalent you may have 50. So that you can decide whether the 40 other substantive procedures, that's up to you to decide. So that's up to the case study given in the paper. So then according to the case study, you have to decide the other substantive procedures, right? So at the end of the day, how many balances are there in the balance sheet? How many balances are in the P&L? And plus disclosures. More than 50 numbers, right? How are you going to, the recall procedures? Undo. Now, one by one balance. Justify what are the procedures we have to do for this? basic procedures you have to remember. So for inventory, we have to do inventory count. Basic. For receivable, you have to make, you have to call confirmations. That's true, right? And cash and cash equivalent, confirmation plus cash counts. Debtors, confirmation plus valuation, the provision. Right? Those are the basic things. PPN, tangible assets, maybe depreciation calculation, and the vouching, the additions for 2 months. Those are the things, right? Basic things we have to keep on mind in very practical basis. That's not that Amar Vela Telegram and Marima Value. Then easily take this one by one balance. You all can suggest, some of you are having audit experience, you all can suggest. So, sir, this type of government, we can do this. Right. After that, we go ahead. That beginning. That beginning, not turn the government. Tapi tiga vegan na government. Kottara dinne. Second row again, second row. And I'm asking where we are in the audit process. As I said, audit is a continuous process. For the work allocation, lecture allocation, we have kind of areas, chapters and all. But it's a one process, right? You have to take it as a one. Otherwise, you will stuck in the middle. If you are getting lesson by lesson, it's really difficult, right? So then here we are. We started with draft accounts, right? Draft accounts. So I'm not discussing about engagement acceptance, understand the business. Those things I'm not going to touch upon. We assume that we accepted the client, there's no independent issue. We have done with this thing, the LOE and all. So we are having a good audit team. We are starting the field work. So that's the point we are in now. And we have now the draft financials. Based on this draft financials, we calculated planning materiality. Planning materiality. So the planning materiality was calculated based on the perspective and expectation, right? Perspective and expectation of the stakeholders. And based on that, decide the basis. What's the basis maybe? Profit basis, activity basis, or whatever the asset basis. Based on this expectation, we decide the planning materiality basis and calculated 3 levels of planning materiality. PMT is at. So this is the benchmark. We measure the relevance to the stakeholders. This may be increased for large company. This may be very small amount for small company, right? That depends. This is a very volatile number. Volatile to the audit, volatile to the financial year, volatile to the period. So the interim audit materiality should be changed to the final audit. So that type of volatility is there. Because the expectations and perspective of shareholders on the company is volatile. That's why they are changing this, right? Suddenly they are changing. So based on that, we have to change our audit approaches as well. Other than the company, company situation is changing. On the term of company, they would have profit. Stakeholders can change their expectation. Right. Second step, by using this, we calculated what? Calculated significant account and significant disclosures. Significant accounts and significant disclosures. So from this financial statement, we are going to audit. We can't take it as one. අපේ audit set එකම දාලා මේ පැත්තේ audit කරේ අපිට ඉන්න දාන්න බෑ. හරි. ඒකට මොකද කරන්නේ? So we have so then you can't audit, as a one task. We are getting 5 elements of the financial statement. We can audit is not a one single task. So then putting that to the audit and getting the audited financial statement. Can't do. So then we have to split that to elements. Some elements. What are the elements? We are going to separate what are the significant accounts, what are the significant disclosures. So these are the disclosures which impact the stakeholders' decision. Next step. So then whatever the identified significant accounts and significant disclosures to represent significant task of transaction. Then from this financial statement, we are planning to audit 3 things: account balances, disclosures, and transactions. Account balances, disclosures, and transactions. First day onwards, I am repeating, these are the things we are going to audit. So that make a so may audit කරන්න යනතුන අපිට 100% audit කරන්න බෑ. We are not going to audit 100%. Right? So we are going to select what are the significant accounts, significant disclosures, significant parts of transaction. All the significant things were selected based on the calculated material level. So my message was, don't depend on the calculated material level only. So you have to focus about whatever the relevant qualitative factors, right? It may be the balance related to regulation. It may be balance related to, some kind of sensitive balance, like a donation in insurance company. I shared some experience about that, right? And then some related party transaction. The transaction having manual control, right? So those things should be verified and designed. Those things should be considered for significant accounts and disclosure identification, right? So after identifying this, we are performing a walkthrough. We are performing a walkthrough test. From walkthrough test, you are getting understanding about what? Design and implementation effectiveness of controllers, right? So after walkthrough test, you are going to do what? The walkthrough test. The walkthrough test, you are going to do combine risk assessment. Combined risk assessment consists in inherent risk plus control risk. Inherent risk you have already concluded. Control risk, you are getting information from the walkthrough test. Based on this combined risk assessment, we are planning audit procedures. POC plus substandard procedures. We are planning that. So this overall plan we consider as a audit plan document. Right? So now we are where we are now. Now where we are. So this plan audit procedures we are going to execute. This called as gathering audit evidence. Gathering audit evidence about what? Significant account, significant disclosure, and costs. So then, once you are having a balance, once you are having a kind of a disclosure to design audit procedures, once you are continuing audit procedures, you should know what's the nature of the balance and what is the accounting standard, guideline, and then what's the scope related to this. Is that a significant balance or not? Based on that, we have to perform POC and substandard procedures and document it. That's what we are going to do now. According to the audit plan, we are going to perform audit procedures. Some balances you are suggesting POC plus substandard procedures. Some balances you are suggesting only substandard procedures. That depends on the audit strategy, right? The audit strategy depends on what? Combine this assessment, whatever the walkthrough results, and effectiveness. Among you are sometimes design and implementation effectiveness of that area effective, but we are not going to do POC because of the cost effectiveness. It's useless to do POC. We can extend the way we can do easily substandard procedures. For example, is that for manufacturing company, borrowing balance, gratuity balance, right? Valuation balance. Let's say service rendering company, PPN. Don't need to do your POC. They don't have much PPN. To say PPN here, right? That campus is audit eකට PPN ගොඩක් ගන්න එයාස් මේ සෙට් එකම තමයි තියෙන්නේ. So like the manufacturing company, they don't have purchases and disposal about fixed asset. So then they can easily do full substantive approach. Don't want to fix that. මේකේ මොනවද ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවද? දැන් අපි දිගටම audit procedure TOC කතා කරගෙන යනකොට understand where we are. I want to tell you where we are, what we are studying with the audit process. Right? Now we are studying each and every significant account and significant disclosure. We have already done with fixed asset and intangible assets. Now we are discussing inventory. Even if I'm having the country, I hope you are okay. The audit exam එකට පාඩම් කරන්න තියාගන්න එපා. තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් කියන understand කරගන්න. එහෙනම් දන්නද කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ තේරෙන්නේ මේක නිකන් step by step, one by one ගත්තොත් like a parrot. So you can understand what it is. So then I am giving case study type questions. So then each and every question like same. Recently, I completed one set of papers. It consisted with more than 60 papers. That day, and from 103 marks, good blank degree, done that thing. Done that. Understanding that, and that. The marks gap. 3 marks to 94 marks. So if you are comfortable, then get 94. 94 is also a difficult mark, right? Difficult talent because he or she knows the subject. That's what 94 marks because the 94 marks for corporate reporting, obviously, they can get because we have black and white answers. Exactly, we can say for corporate reporting, the numbers, right? But auditing is a writing paper. The very judgmental answers. But getting 94 marks, he definitely say he or he is kind of a perfect and understandable, very competent student. So, ලකුණු දෙකක් තුනක් ගත්තලා අය හත කොහොමද ගත්තා? ඒ මට මාදමේ after කියන්නේ so then we have done a series of lectures, revision, okay, and then I gave model answers, past papers, target areas. Target area is taken. Target area කියන්නේ ළමයි හඬ තේරම target නේද කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ target area ටිකක් දුන්නම more than 80% paper may be the set is that target areas. කියන්නේ ඔය ටිකේ මොන SCC කරන්නේ කියන්නේ. Whatever the course you are following, audit is same, right? So that is the target area in the prevailing situation, prevailing country situation, economy, and then these are the hot topics we are discussing. That is same. We have to communicate with students, so then they can come up with a kind of a good confidence over there. That is the surprise and that's why we are getting there. I don't expect that it from this group because I'm dealing with exception team because you are experienced and you have kind of a good plan. That same batch I'm doing corporate reporting, so that's why I took that. 942. Wait. 6 marks also there. 6, 83, 36, 39, 35, 46. 3 marks is miracle. 3 marks can be expected on banning. Why does it happen? Mom, if you found that justify it, they are lecture in the manner to because lectures just the other. Can maybe numbers we can so pay to answer and run that. Take the payment part. Wasting. Typically, in the yeah, we done this. You can understand. Measurement and a big power. Then, if you getting the degree, is the kind of a degree holder without knowing what it is. You can tell it. Yeah, what is knowledge later? So, based as well as the kind of the blame and the lecture, that's not good. The target is average you have to get 60. Average more than 60 you have to get. That's easy. You can add one take it out. You can talk to me. What again? Individual here then our team mega creator. Team mega creator difficult. Auditing corporate. Auditing not that much difficult. Auditing also you will have some doubts of unclear area. For the exam, you can come up with a kind of a small team, right? Time mega planning. So we arrange the kind of a WhatsApp group to team board, round half an hour, 1 hour. You can clarify already before the exam. They don't get surprise at the exam. And so that 10 million, we can easily do that. You can easily get a good result. More than 80, very easy. So they don't, give descriptive, long answers. Some questions, in first paragraph, they have whole marks. Right? I have already given whatever the 6 marks. For first 3 sentences, they have done with the 1 page. It was useless. So the 1 page they have done for that question. Mama can get 6 marks, maximum marks, already given. Unnecessary, the descriptions. And then end of the paper, they have missed to do 1 question. I requested to do 4 questions, so they added this only 3 questions because unnecessary time waste for some question. So they are giving whatever the knowledge facts around that area. It's not relevant for that question. So एक बार repeat करना होगा इधर audit committee के नहारी. बोस प्रश्न यार क्या हुआ? बोस का और हर कैंडिडेट उत्तर यार. वहाँ हम लोग ये उत्तर करा लो. You have to be very summarized, very smart. It should be very relevant. Once you are giving your answers, and I will prefer to get the short form answers to the point. No need to give paragraph type answers. So you can use both, but preference is that. So this is not a digital paper, right? So I am not giving 2 marks for the pages. Half of them. It's like English or single literature paper, right? For kind of a at that time we had literature review, right? Here review for literature review we have to. If we are getting maximum mark, we have 2.5 pages, right? Pages only one in question, but in auditing, not that the case. Some question 1.5 pages they have given 0 marks. 1.5 pages they are what's the time waste? Some question paper. Just make a data and follow. Critical thing is auditing paper, read the question. Read the question first. So then very slight 1 or 2 words, the total answer may be different. The stage of auditing, main elements of auditing, 2 different answers. Right? That was happening there. Stage of audit. Stage of the stage means what's the area, right? So the planning, execution, and conclusion. Stage of audit. Main elements of a statutory audit. Main elements. So what are the content? Maybe audit report, tri-party engagement, those areas. So don't get mix this knowledge facts. So then further I am asking the relationship between each and every task, LOE to conclusion, LOE to audit opinion. That will be tested. So you have to be very equipped to give answers. So I am asking what's the relationship between TOC and the substantive procedures. So now what are the audit procedures. It will expect task that. What's the relationship between TOC and substantive procedures? Yes, we discussed unaudited procedures. We have 2, TOC and substantive procedures. If you want to get 4 marks, what's the answer? TOC is the option. You can decide whether you are going to do or not. According to your audit strategy, if you are doing TOC, so the answers, the results from TOC will be embedded to CRA. That CRA may be used to design the scope of substantive procedures. If you are getting positive results for TOC, CRA may be combined this may be very low. If it is so, your scope may be very low for substantive procedures. What TOC करना अडुएन तमें substantive करना होने के नाम से तमें ठीक है what magic man. Like a having here, yes, the relationship between TOC and upstream procedure. Well, again, questions here also have. So they have to be ready. You should have kind of an energy to write the audit paper. That's the mother the AI not a part paper. Simply I got it. Wow, more energy can say the cover penna or a prashna power so I can manage. So that type of sense should be there. Plan pull plan for the money. Only the liver so can't pull up. So keep it in on mind and ready for that. Do some papers, read. Again, main lecture note for read there. In a lecture, we have ACC, SEMA, so that get your the knowledge about auditing. That's the requirement. Up to the standard, up to the quality, up to have kind of a proper relationship between each areas. That's the requirement, right? So with this understanding and the thought, so we are going to start significant accounts and significant disclosures with audit procedures, right? So one by one we can discuss. We are with inventory. So the before going for the procedures, we had detailed discussion about what are the basic procedures, what are the sources of information, how we can trust upon that, the original documents, then duplicate documents, oral evidence, written evidence. Likewise, we had a detailed discussion about information sources and then audit steps, common steps. So maybe can become balagina the enona. Sources of audit evidence. Maybe become balagina the enona. Have make a make a yana pull one day. And make it a make a yana pull on, put that change the then a piece to analytics reports, confirmation for third parties, compute the data. So that the confirmation from third parties, inventory article, use this. So we can do kind of a physical verification. Confirmation for third party. Confirmation. Inventory. So if we are having a kind of an inventory, so we have already purchased, we have not the transport that to our warehouse. It is so that's in a separate location, right? And that's a reporting there. So then as auditor, we can't go there and check that. And what we can do is we can get a confirmation from that third party. As at this day, this much of inventory balance was there at the physically. So that can be confirmed. So it's a kind of very customized situation. Can be used. So you can suggest that if you have that understanding. So what the understanding? Inventory at the confirmation. Sorry. Confirmation folder or negative can by negative can or negative can to around that what answer of that case study so the case study consists with so that we have different location for inventory. So the different warehouses are identified. So then we are doing custom purchases as well. So the sum of the items, significant items at the port. So then you have to know at the last stage. So that's what you have to do. You have to get an information from there. Right? You can suggest that. To do that, you should have a proper understanding about basic audit procedures. What are all the things that have a make it you should have a proper understanding. So then analytics reports, computed data. So those can be used. Valuation from independent valuer, whatever the estimate, whatever the the judgmental area, you can use that. PP valuation, activity valuation, insurance contract liability valuation, biological asset valuation. For those areas, this can be repeated. So according to the situation, you can change some words and use the for understanding. So that මේක දැනගෙන ඉන්න එක. Very important. Right? We had this understanding as well. I කියන්න ඕන නම් let me inform so then I can repeat it, right? Basically, this is the flow we use. Those are the steps we follow. This is the workflow we are using for substantive procedures. Whatever the balance you are going to verify, this can use, right? Once you are completing your procedures, you may face errors or omissions. Can understand the misstatements, right? Here we have common procedures. Basically, you have the slide again. More than 30 can learn from this slide. You can put these procedures for relevant, significant content disclosed. In the exam paper, different areas may be tested. Sometimes inventory, sometimes revenue, expenses, salaries, fixed assets. So whatever the area you are dealing, you have to decide what are the procedures you are going to do. So we discuss tangible and current assets, right? Intangible and current assets. So we came to inventory. So once we are starting a significant account, firstly we should understand what are the assets related to that asset. Once we are evaluating assets and related assets, you can understand what's the balance it is, right? Balance sector understand of course. What's the balance? What's the nature? What's the composition? And then you can decide what's the relevant accounting standard. So inventory, the balance consisted with material, work in progress, and goods. Right? Now we are going to verify that. Some companies they have material and goods. Some of the companies they don't have. What are the companies? Work in progress they don't have. Why? What's the reason? Material and finished goods in the right. I reason. What may be the reason? Production some companies are inventory net. Like as I discussed, banks, insurance companies, they don't have much inventory with significant balance. So they have only forms and whatever the payment vouchers. Those things are only the inventory. Other than that, so the A4 papers, that's it. Now we are moving into paperless. So they don't have inventory, right? Whatever the repair and type of set of inventory. Other than that, you don't have. Let's say manufacturing company. Some of the manufacturing companies, they have material. They have only finished goods, they don't have work in progress. Some companies, they don't have any material or finished goods. Sorry, material or work in progress, they only have finished goods. Some companies, they have material and work in progress, they don't have finished goods. Different composition, different scenarios. Why? Some companies just yeah. Can you give me an example? People who are joining virtually. The company, they don't have any work in progress. type of- So you can't check well, I give you an answer. I don't know. So can you repeat it? We didn't get it actually. So I hope you are getting that. But I am telling here. So what I am telling here, some of the manufacturing companies, they don't have material and finished goods. So their inventory management system depends on just in time. So whatever the required, they are doing their supply for the purchase order. They request, produce, supply, zero inventory. That may be the process, right? So then, if we are having the material plus finished goods, there's no WIP as at the reporting date. What may be the reason? Their production cycle may be very short. Within 2 hours, they can produce one item. Like yogurt, so like fresh milk, so they are getting milk and that bottle and whatever the materials, and within 3-4 hours, they are getting the outcome. So as at the reporting date, once you are taking your inventory, you don't have halfway through items. So the WIP, the reason is the lifespan is the production life may be very small. Within a short time, you can finish one item. So we don't have WIP. So once you are suggesting an inventory count or procedures, you have to study the case study and the production. Depending on the production only, you can decide the composition. Well, එතකොට වාගේ audit එක base කරගෙන ඔයාලා decide කරන්න. You can assume what's the composition of the inventory balance, whether you are having WIP or not. If you are doing, company for tire production company, they may have, right? So the gloves, they may have elastic manufacturing company. Yes. So 2011. 2011, I did a company elastic manufacturing. Very well. So then they are using the big machines to produce elastic. So as of the reporting date, so they have kind of a material balance with work in progress. So then there are some of the elastic, so they only completed this cloth element only. So then some part, so they have added that rubber part as well. And some parts after that they are going to print some, logo or something like that. So they are producing for different suppliers, like then they are producing to Mars and they are producing to some other hotel, other hydrogony, different garments. So for different garments, different logos are there. So then they have to print that. So then as at the counter of pay, they have a significant balance of WIP in different stages. Different stages. So then it's a very complex area. So at the same time, I did Lanka milk processing company. As at the cutoff date, so they have even kind of a it's a kind of a production. They ended the production to take the inventory. Inventory control production economy. If these so they don't have halfway through WIP. They only have material plus finished. So the question is whether you have WIP or not. To understand that, you have to justify the production process. If you are having short production process, you don't have WIP. Then as auditor, you have to plan only for material plus finished goods. So then my request is what? Before you are designing your procedures, you should know what's the content of that. That based on the content, based on the industry, right? Whatever the balance, or PC balance එක verify කරන්න කලින් මම දැනගන්න ඕනේ මේක තියෙන්නේ. Is that only furniture, only land and building, only machines? You should know the composition. Then only you can decide your audit procedures, right? Okay. Right. I hope you are understanding what it is. With the composition, you should know this accession as well, right? Why we are going to do audit procedures? That's the reason to ensure this accession. To ensure this accession, we are doing basic audit procedures, right? We are performing substantive and DOC to ensure this accession given by the management to the public. So then we have to perform audit procedures, DOC and substantive procedures to this level. So accession level, right? So the ad hoc basis, we can't do procedures, DOC plus substantive procedure for the whole balance. That's not make sense. We have to target accession wise. We have to perform procedures. To achieve these accessions, we can do this procedure. Likewise, you have to decide why we did the risk assessment to the level, accession level. After risk assessment, take care of the assistant level. We did the risk assessment to the assistant level. We did the risk assessment to the assistant level. So in a audit, we have different levels, right? Financial statement level, financial statement level. So then, as a whole, we can see the financial and then balance level. Financial statement statement of financial position, P&L, and the cash flow statement wise, that level, right? And then we are coming to the balance level. What's the balance? Profitability, revenue, cash, PP&E. That's the balance. So we can ask, is that balance is correct? So what is the balance of cash and cash equivalent? We are asking question, right? Is that balance sheet is correct or not? Balance sheet. Is this financial statement true and fair? Financial statement level as a whole, right? Balance here. What's the cash and cash equivalent balance? What's the PP&E balance? What's the revenue? Balance stage. We are not ending with that stage. We are coming to far beyond that, far below that, right? We are coming to the accession level. What we are asking, how to ensure that the existence of PP&E, existence of cash and cash equivalent. We are at the accession level. Yeah, the accession level, right? So once you are questioning to the accession level, we are having a doubt. We are having a risk. What's the expectation? Given accession to the inventory is correct. That's the assumption. Who is the person? Gave accessions? Management. Management is telling what they are telling. As at this reporting date, we have material work in progress. All are we ensure the existence. They are telling to the public. But we have to do as auditor. We have to ensure that. To ensure that, we have to perform procedures. we are doing audit procedures to ensure what? Accession. Accession theorem the balance procedures. Ultimately, in other words, to ensure the balance. Ultimately, it was a target to ensure the balance sheet. End of the day, accumulating all those things, we are issuing the opinion. One shot up in the bad theorem. So then we have to come to the accession level and verify that, come back and give the opinion. Right. Okay. We discussed this as well. So the accounting treatment. So we are using LKS2. This is the accounting basis. Cost and NRV whichever is lower. So we had that discussion, and then cost and NRV should be decided. Right? So then we have to have kind of a understanding about what is cost, what the NRV. Cost and NRV, whichever is lower, should be displayed in the balance sheet. Why? Okay, standard deviation is what's the reason over there? Why? What's the logic behind that? As auditor, you have to inform them what's the logic. Counter carry that or logic carry. Wow, you can standard deviation by the whatever the given guideline from the standard, you have to translate that to the audience. Audience may consist with doctors, lawyers, marketeers, engineers, and general public. So you have to convert that technical words, technical jargon to the simple language. So technical word says, as auditor, as accountant, he has to disclose cost and NRV every slower. We understood what was NRV and cost of NRV last week, right? So keep in mind, it should be, and otherwise, it may be a 1 billion transaction, 1 billion entry. So the earliest picture in the books. So then again, there's a question. What do you mean by cost and NRV whichever is why you can't use cost no. You can use NRV. You should have an answer. So as auditor, you should have proper answer. Why we are asking to do this standard and accounting bodies? What reason? Okay. Cost and NRV whichever is lower should be displayed balance sheet. Yeah. So I'm asking a simple question, I guess, because you know this and you know the logic. Yeah, but I'm not going to really cost no value with the book selling. What without the cost take the most of the cases. So then, as at this stage, now starting companies also they rule like that. Cost take the NRV. Product company right purchase करना at a margin से भी right. So they always most of the cases, 95%, 80% cases, cost is less than NRV. Otherwise, you are not doing this. NRV can done item better. We could not expect the. So they If you're having a set of inventory less than the NRV versus cost, definitely your purchase decision may be a kind of a expired or outdated decision. It's a kind of failed decision. That's the reason. So they're technically outdated. Maybe expired items, right? So then cost versus NRV indicating less value. Less value for NRV. It is so. Accounting standards always leading to a kind of a prudent basis is there. Because of that, if there's a future predicted loss, we have to book that in the books as soon as possible. So there are loss setup here now. So we have to make a provision over that, make a write-off over that. That's why we are booking by using the less value. So whatever the inventory we are going to show in the books, there should be a recoverability. Then you can ask, so why we are going to? So if it is so, we can use the higher value. So there's a there's a argument here. The impairment is that. Have you heard about that? Impairment. Last week we discussed impairment. Impairment, you are here. Cost and NRV. There is lower. Lower, right? Cost and NRV whichever is lower. But impairment, now we have value value here is higher. Here is higher should be displayed in the books. Recoverable value. Recoverable value consists of two. What are the two? Value in use. Value in use. Fair value plus cost to sell. So those are the two types of benefit we can get from an asset. So then value in use, fair value plus cost to sell, that's the recoverable value. And book value, we are getting whichever is higher here. Of impairment of asset. That value should be disclosed in the books. Right? Here, same logic. Asset category. Cost NRV whichever is lower. We have to disclose. But make it compare that. So we are going to compare with that guy and the plan. Oh, what is this? What's the logic? So then someone asked from you as a counterpart, you collectively ask, right? Okay, what's the methodology? Become asset. So you are going to disclose in the balance sheet, inventory this way, other asset this way, impairment this way. In this inventory also can be impaired. inventory standards also, there may be impairment. What's the difference between that two logic here and there? What's the hidden? Is there any thought about this? Impairment versus valuation of inventory. Then the definitions are it. Here we are discussing about that value, higher value. Then we are discussing about lower value. The logic. Why? Client asking from you. So that here you are telling something else, here you are telling something else. As a reason, here expectation is different. Expectation is different because we are not going to get unrealized profit to books. If there is kind of a impairment indication, impairment type of indication, you can understand from here. Impairment type of indication. What is that? If there's a less NRV than the cost, definitely we can't recover that. Right? We can't recover. So then we are going to put the minimum value. Minimum value. Why? Cost is the incurred cost, and the NRV is the expectation. Right? So then we don't want to, recognize the higher value at that moment. Why? This is still unrealized. This is unrealized. This is a kind of a future expectation, unrealized gain. So then that may be realized with sale concept. Once you are doing your sale, this may be realized. At that point, if there is a kind of this deviation, whatever the incurred cost is higher than NRV, it's giving an impairment indicator again. So then that is standard, especially guiding. If there's such a difference, go and put the low value. Low value should be the book value. So then that book value can be tested for impairment then again. Right? Two logics now. This book value. Then again you are checking. Now we have the book value, right? So you took that value to the books. Now we are telling the book value versus recoverable value. What's the recoverable value now? Recoverable value is NRV. So you are safe. Now book value and NRV value. Book value and the recoverable value same. Previously, so what you did was, you did the purchase and projected the NRV to the lowest value. At that point, you have to recognize that loss. If there's a gain, you are not recognizing that. Here also, you are not getting any gain to the books. Why? If there's a මෙතන similar logic එකක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන gain එකක් ගන්නෑ. Observe. You are getting only a loss. Here also you are getting only a loss. Why I am telling like that? Then a theory again. Here we have book value. Right? Then we have recoverable value. We are getting whichever is higher. Whichever is higher. Whichever is higher means book value may be higher. Recoverable value may be higher. Right? So then, if you have a higher book value, so that you are getting higher value, right? So then you have to get the common book value is there, recoverable value is there. So then you have to get the recoverable value and you have to compare with the book value, right? You have to compare with the book value, and if it is higher than the book value, recoverable value, we have to, so here we have to decide the impairment or not, right? Higher කියන කෑල්ල වැරදි. ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් delete කරගන්න. තියාගන්න. මම මොනවද කරන්න යන්නේ? what you're going to do, you are going to take the impairment. You have a book value, so the asset value, right? Asset value. So then you are going to have a kind of a recoverability test. Let's say book value 10,000. 10,000. Recoverable value 12,000. Recoverable value 12,000. Are you going to put impairment here? No. Are you going to put impairment here? No, you are not going to put impairment. Why? Recoverable value is higher. Same logic here. Cost is this much. Cost is 10,000. Cost is 10,000. NRV is 12,000. What's the value we are getting? 10,000. So then, same logic you can see. So then, if there is no such an indication, we are going with the lowest value. We are going with the lowest value. So then, in accounting, what's the logic? We don't want to show bogus value, extra values in the books. If there's an indication to kind of a impairment or value decrease, we have to post it. Same logic. So then 10,000, let's say, recoverable 9,000. We have to make a impairment provision. Your recoverable value 9,000, we are going to show in the books 10,000. Useless. Your future benefit of this asset 9,000 only. Now you are going to show 9,000. Same logic. We don't want to show unrealized gain here in the books. We don't want to show unrealized profit, unrealized, the revaluation gains to the books, right? We don't want. So that same logic, different guideline. For impairment, for අපිට මේ තරයි කතා කරගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. If LK2 is silent. If LK2 is silent about this, so then we can use same impairment logic for LK2. We are doing kind of a impairment testing for inventory. So that same logic can be used. So it means whatever the incurred cost, you can assume as the book value. So as at the reporting date, you are checking recoverability of the recoverable value of the recoverable value of the inventory. Recoverable value of the inventory. So what are the recoverable options? Value in use, there's no such option, value in use. Inventory use inventory, there's only one recoverable offer. What is that? What is that? Net realizable value. Right. So we had for asset, we had two values. Recoverable value, the fair value less cost to sell, and then value in use. Fair value less cost to sell, same meaning, net realizable. Same logic, two different guidelines was there because we can easily use that logic for inventory because we don't have any value in use to do impairment values. So then standard very clear, we have to use cost and NRV, whichever is low. That's why we are using that. Then you should understand what is that. The same logic, same accounting basis. Then you should convey that message to your audience. Why we are doing this? Reason, the accounting terms, unrealized gains, don't want to get into the books. Why? Unrealized gain, that's doubtful, right? So that we are using this financial information to take decision to expand revenue and profit in the organization. So then, if you want to take good decisions, you don't want to put that into the unrealized gain to your books, right? Why then CBK down or CBK again? They already again no. Unrealized CBK down. It is given. So you have to take that into the account after realizing that's a positive side. That's a kind of a very positive side. Positive side, don't want to figure that into your decision. And if it is so they are not getting they are getting discouraged, the audience, right? After performance, they are good up very here. Then we have a big unrealized balance here. That is not good. So the realized profit should be taken to book. Plus, realize that realize current was someone so perform then the management don't want to get realizing value sometimes. Because they want to perform well. What is that? Maintenance achieve right? If you are putting that into the account, that's not good. That's not effective, right? But in accounting terms, if there's a loss in advance, you have to recognize. That's why we are using this. Why we have to alert on that as a research. If there's a loss, we have to take action today onwards, right? So we have to make a provision, we have to take corrective action so that then only we can recover from that. Right? So that is the main procedure. So today onwards, you have to take decisions. A decision, positive with the decision, negative with the decision, towards one objective. What's the objective? To enhance the shareholder value. To enhance the shareholder value for negative things, today we have to take action. So then we have to report it and we have to communicate. So there's a future loss. That's why we recognize this provision. So you have to take decision today itself, right? So we are driving to increase the shareholder value. So that today we have a gain. We can sell it out in the future. It's a kind of a huge gain we are getting within another 3-4 months. So are we going to put that to our books and hello, we have this much of profit this year. So it's still not realized. Again, we are discouraging, right? We are not going to sell that. So up until the selling point, we are not going to discourage that. We are not going to record that. So then we are waiting till the realization point to get that in. So again, we are encouraging to realize that. We are not taking till that. So yes, you have a kind of a future gain within another 3 months. You have to do the same. You have to realize it and you can take the balance to the books. At that point, you can recognize. So again, are giving the the motivation to what? To do the same, to enhance the shareholder value. To two aspects. Our target is same as the management. Why? We don't to focus the number. If we are having kind of a commission, we have to report. We have been getting it, right? So then accounting always guided to have a kind of a real picture to achieve positive. Real picture to achieve positive කියලා unrealized profit දාගෙන උලකින් හදන්නේ. Don't do that. You have to record realized profit plus expected losses. That's accounting. That's for better decision making, better efficiency. So audit as auditor, we have to lead to the accountants and society to correct treatment. So I hope you are okay with the accounting aspect of inventory. We discussed cost and NRV and the logic. Logic should be on your hand to explain to the audience. වාගෙන් අහුවොත් මොකද මේ value දෙකක් දාගෙන කරන්නේ එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා should have a proper answer to justify give a kind of firm answer. What's the reason? What's the logic? After using this, you can take millions of decisions, millions of games after having this change. So then you can save this money. So that communication should be there to the audience. So then they are willing to do that. By using accounting, you can create money. From the accounting, you can keep it there. From accounting, you can give correct information. It's a machine, right? Correct information and take decision. Based on that decision only, you can take proper strategies, proper decision. So then, that's a kind of a information source. Right. Done. We have different inventory items, right? Accordingly, you have to decide inventory related audit procedures. So in the balance sheet, you all can see this narration. So the balance sheet normally we are having the liquidity order, right? At the top, list liquidity item. At the bottom, liquid assets, right? The other all the companies same. Our company minimum. Kita ada finance company kita dia. I will see other companies. And leasing companies, insurance companies, they are not following this order. එයාගේ මුලින්ම තියෙන මොකක්ද asset එක? PPE ද? නෑ. මුලින්ම තියෙන මොනවද? cash තියෙන. Cash තියෙන. What the reason? What the reason? Reason is, in case 1 clearly says, you can decide that order based on the requirement of your core business of your organization. So then, in a bank, we don't want to see the fixed asset, the bulk. We want to see the liquidity of the bank. So then, liquidity order should be followed from high liquid asset to low liquidity asset. So then, in a bank, you have a different balance sheet. In a bank, you don't have current and non-current assets in the balance sheet. Have you gone through any bank statement of a balance sheet of a bank, you can see you don't have current and non-current liabilities. You have only asset liabilities. Right? It is so. So then separate guidelines. So you can have a so then case 1 clearly guided to do so. Case 1 කියලා බලන්න කොහොමද කියලා තියෙන්නේ. Can get an exact answer. I will show that later. Virtual තමයි කරන්න බෑනේ slide එකේ. Here you can see note number 16. It's related to inventory. The group number, you can see the group number and the pen number same. Group 310, company 310. What it means to you? Amanda Mukadeno. Normal situation, what should be there? Group number should be higher than lower, higher than the company number. Why? Group means accumulation of some other subsidiaries and joint ventures and all, right? So then, in one company, parent company plus subsidiaries, inventory balance should be higher. But here, what's the conclusion you are coming in? So other companies may not have inventory. Right? Some situation, company balance figure, group එකට වඩා අඩු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. There are any situation, the group inventory balance decreasing with the company balance. So the lesser balance showing in the group column, higher value in the company column. Is there any situation? I'm asking question. Think the group transaction. Once we are removing unrealized gain, so we have to have lesser value with the group in the parent company. Reason is what? Parents recording the selling price. But parents recording whatever the cost, right? Whatever the sales transaction, and then so then they have separate value. Here we have separate value. So then we may have difference. some situation. So then both companies having cost. So you are going to pass the entry to subsidiary company. So then once you are accumulating subsidiary companies and other companies, the final balance is a lesser balance. You are going to put an unrealized gain adjustment to console column. Unrealized gain to be adjusted. එතන balance එක වැඩි වෙනවද නැද්ද කියලා decide කරන්න. You should decide that. Some unusual scenarios may be there. So then keep in mind, once you are doing consolidation, unrealized gain should be adjusted to the console column. So that's the message, right? Some situation you are making group level, there may be some provision. In the company level, you are not doing the provision. There may be decent. In the group level, they are putting kind of a provision. So once you are adding numbers, you are having a kind of this value. You are putting a provision. It's a group level. Group level, you know, sometimes your accounting treatment maybe inventory. Basically, we have to follow. Say, let's say you are dealing with PP&E company. You are using what? Evaluation model, cost model. In the group, you are using evaluation model. So then, whatever the cost numbers should be turned to evaluation model in the group. Some situation, let's say company, your PP&E value is higher than the group PP&E value. So now මොකද හිතේ? අපා company එකක් විදිහට තිබුණ PP value එක අඩු වෙලා group එකට එනවා. What's the meaning? So then, are we having any depreciation, further depreciation? No. What's the reason? Company using the valuation model, group using cost model. So whatever the revaluation adjustment you have put to the company, you have to remove. And whatever the subsidiary you have, you don't have PP&E. Those are service rendering company, you don't have PP&E. The main principal office is the person who are giving PP&E to all subsidiaries. We are giving a kind of a rent for that. So then subsidiary don't have PP&E. It means the company PP value is higher than the PP&E value. So that's kind of a understanding should be there once you are reading your financial statement. So if there's a kind of unusuality, you should pick it up and you should get the exact reason for that. Keep in mind. Right. You are going to audit this. Note number 16, we have inventory, right? We are going to note number 16. This is the information given to the public from financial statement. So then as auditor, we have to verify these numbers, basically. So inventory balance consisted with this. So this is the balance. We have to verify this. To verify this, what we have to do? We have to verify this balance, this, and then we have to verify this provision. And you can see here, see, provision for slow moving machinery spares. Provision for slow moving machinery spares. Provision means can I add an adjective over this? Yes. With provision. impairment provision. So then you recorded this cost and NRV whichever is lower. And then again you are making an impairment provision. What's the logic behind that? The same thing I discussed previously. We did that inventory disclosure, we got the book value. Then again we are testing for the impairment. To take the book value, we have given the instructions. Get the cost and NRV whichever is lower for your book. And compare the book value with the recoverable value. So the recoverable value is another concept. And the concept then again we have some other disclosures that about inventory, whether we are going to place this inventory or not, right? And here we have the basic audit procedures for inventory. That's about EOC plus certain procedures. So then you have to understand whether you are going to do EOC or not. You're going to understand that. So in the balance sheet, we have a balanced inventory. So that we have a balance inventory. Now we are going to audit that. So it's a significant balance, significant account. We consider that as we put that into the score. So what is the scores? Inventory, purchase, inventory purchase, and then inventory purchase. You can decide what's the scores. After doing a walkthrough, we did the CRA. So inventory balance. So whatever the accession level CRA. Based on that CRA, we are going to design these procedures. Based on the CRA and audit plan, you can decide whether you are going to do TOC or not. That is the option, right? That is the option. Whether you are going to do the TOC or not. Whether you want to take care of it. So we did the design and implementation only. We got that understanding to CRA control risk, right? Control risk. Based on that, we are going to design. According to the CRA, we feel that they don't have design, implementation continuous of the control. If it is so, we don't want to. do TOC. You can go straight away to substantive procedures. If it is, the effective, you are going to do TOC. So then you are going to do TOC plus substantive procedure. That's based on your audit strategy. That's based on your audit strategy. Right? Audit strategy is very important. So what's your suggestion? What do you think? As a auditor, as a lecturer, my the courage, my motivation. I have to motivate you all to why. එහෙමල්ලාගෙන කරනකොට කමක් නැහැ. මේ අතර සෙන්සිටිව් නිසා යන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම ඉන්නකොට කොට බයස කරන්නේ. Right. Right. So then we can decide whether you are going to do TOC or something. Or set up and increase the sensitivity. Right. So that we are discussing whether we are going to do TOC or not. You can decide. So our, the push, our suggestion is what? We have to do TOC for a balance line inventory. That's the reason. So the inventory balance came to the books after having millions of transactions in a year. So we can't check evidence. We can't do straight away substantive procedures without having control efficiency in operation level. We should have a conclusion about the operating effectiveness of the control before you are doing substantive procedures. Otherwise, it's impractical to do audit. So then, if you are doing a kind of a manufacturing company, it's really difficult to do full substantive approach. You can't do actually, because from January to December, you have millions of transactions. How you can select the vouchers to take those transactions? If you don't have a process, how you can ensure that? Take one here. That is the learning point you have to take. As auditor, how you can check January to December inventory purchase, each and every inventory item. Immediately you are not doing TOC. TOC not doing mean what's that? You did the direct implementation. You are not going to get the operation. You don't want to ensure that whole process may be implement and operate during the period. You don't have any confusion about that. Without that conclusion, you are going to do substantive procedure. It means you have that the process understanding, and now you are going to take invoices, PRN. So that can you take that for 1 year? For 1 day, they are making millions of transactions. Okay, so with that understanding from the walkthrough, you can decide what is the operating effectiveness of the control. You can ensure that after having TOC, what you're going to ensure? They have a proper design, proper implementation, they have operated controls effectively. Taking one of the here. Take an invoice a process operating effectiveness. You have that in the whole process throughout the year. You have comfort. Then you can do some substandard procedures and analytical procedures to ensure the inventory balance. So then my advice, suggestion is, so you have to use hybrid approach for inventory. So then if you have a question in the exam related to inventory, so suggest first you have to do TOC. TOC, you can check Then decide POC, the standards, we don't have any guide. Any guideline instance, you have to decide POC as auditor, you have to perform, you don't have any test steps. You can decide why. The critical part of the process is customized to the organization or the organization, right? So that we can basically say that for inventory, you can check what? Three-way matching. Three-way matching here. Yes. DRL. Yes, order. Payment invoice. That's it. Check payment, purchase order, and DRL. Have you ordered that? Is it in the order? Have you received it? Have you paid for it? That's it. Take it. Three-way matching here, you wanna. So then, actually, that's it for me. Again, inventory question, three-way matching mention Karana. So then that's a kind of good answer. Three-way matching, that's the third answer. If it is if you are going to put that into the question paper, so right? And other than that, can do some other procedures for inventory. Some kind of a procedures related to this IT controls for the serious order, the serial number order for the inventory item, and the reconciliation with the physical inventory to the, and then the system chart, right? Then right? Adjusting procedures, and under the POC level, what else you have to check? Approval for inventory purchase, and then once you are taking the insurance coverage for inventory, is the stock, taking all the comfort and price system. So then you are going to have kind of insurance coverage for our available inventory, right? Inventory is the kind of the balance having a turnover. So then we can't say it's a kind of a fixed balance to the insurance company, right? Today we have the stock, next day we don't have stock, but we don't have insurance cover for inventory, right? So then have a the insurance company have a inventory. We don't do that. Why are we what we are going to do? We are going to say that what's the we are going to say that so this is working, the technologies, this is working with this board. So here we have two technologies. Two technology aspects. So then this works with two elements. Two elements in the sense the screen and the PDF. This element. Otherwise, this works as a recording. So, then I can use this option for writing, right? That will be visible to our virtual audience. If I am using this option can be here. If I am using this won't appear. Today, two different techniques. This pen sensible to two options to the screen as well as the PDF. Those two of technology they don't address by using this kind of technology can understand the so then that's the basic. This the blue line is the basic element in PowerPoint or whatever the area. So if you are using your laptop, that technology is there. But this is kind of a different. So then once you are sharing with teams, this technology may be not visualized because we are not sharing this this screen in the sense this screen with two elements. The sensitive panel and the screen. What they can pay, they want to take the inside up in the pay. Then written technology they got right. ඒකට ඔයා මේ ස්ක්‍රීන් එකේ දාලා මෙතෙන්ට ඒක කළොත් මේ white board එකට මේකේ අන්තිමේම පේන්නේ නැහැ එතකොට නේද? It's a different technology then. Because I can't do anything, any two of them. Right here, this display. That's another case. So I have to do that in my laptop once I share it. So then I can draw something in my laptop. So that's technology. Implementation even see that. සමහරලාද lecture කෙනෙක් මේකත් හිතලවම කියන්නේ. මේක අන්නේ so generation can understand, but you have to have kind of a sense. So the question in mind, skepticism, but it can be used for that area as well. So then it has a solution. Solution is not kind of solution to change this technology, at least to operate this. So make a the it was something. So then you can decide what are the basic POC procedures, right? I don't want to know you. Each and every POC procedure. You can, I have given here the basic some procedures. You can decide that. Basically, you are checking the critical part. So that's the word I have missed once I'm discussing the controls and everything. So I want to give that word. Critical path. Keep in mind. That's a new word. What is that? New word can I have already discussed that, right? So we discussed what? Walkthrough. And POC. Walkthrough and POC, right? And the walkthrough and POC we check what? Design, implementation, and operating effectiveness of controls, right? Controls. That controls lay in the critical path. What is that? Critical path. Critical path of the process. Process means critical path. That is initiation, processing and documentation. That's a critical path of a process. We are going through that. The controls related to initiation, processing, and documentation. That's about critical path. Design effectiveness of the critical path. And the implementation effectiveness and the operation effectiveness. So we are studying the critical path of the transaction process. In another word, that's a kind of word they are using, kind of identification we are doing in auditing. So we have to understand the critical part of the process, prevalent is what. So you can say why we are going to do a walk to understand design and effectiveness of design and implementation effectiveness of the controls in the critical part, the process, right? That's a good word you can use for your exam. Right. These are the basic TOC procedures. You can add some more here. What box based on your experience, based on your case study, based on your comment, you can design some more procedures, right? Some more procedures. Controls on inventory purchases, controls on inventory issuance, security controllers, security features, right? NRV testing and standard costing, inventory verification, and IT controllers. You can suggest some other IT controllers. You should have a serial order. If you are returning, you have to have separate number. Likewise, you should have inventory code, separate code, right? And then that code can't be repeated. Right? Those are kind of controls. And then inventory verification. Inventory verification should be done by the management. It may be done. You can decide quarterly, monthly. So you can count the inventory. Then as an auditor, we are participating to observe that one time maybe. Sample testing may be done. As auditor, do we need to verify all the inventory items? No. Don't need to verify all the items. You need to ensure that verification is going on. Audit එකක් වෙනවා කිව්වම benefit ගොඩක් තියෙනවා නේ. Audit එකක් වෙනවා කිව්වම benefit ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. So from the audit we can identify misstatements that can recover. We can correct those things. But the other side, what's the benefit we have? There's audit the control. So people are thinking about audit and they don't do the same. Those are the two benefits. So there's a preventive plus detective benefit from audit. What's the detective? Can find statement already done. That is detective. What's the preventive? There's a vibe, there's a message that there's an audit coming in. Then people are not doing mistakes. There's a preventive benefit. Keep in mind. So then audit එකක් නැද audit එකක් වෙනවා කියලා message එකක් යවන්න මේ organization. So we have to do audit. We have come up with audit. So we have kind of audit department. So from audit department we have two different benefits. Keep in mind. Audit එකක් කරනවා subject audit එකක් කරන්න ඕනේ. නේද? So audit එකක් කරලා ගියොත් මේ audit එකේ මාසෙන් කරාම ඊළඟ මාස 12 ඒ පිළිවෙල එකේ ඉන්න ඕන. auditors ඇවිල්ලා මේකත් බලන්න. අපි මේක හරියට කරන්න. That message should be there. That message should be given from you all to the audience, to the stakeholders, right? So it's kind of a power in that word. Keep that power. So to do that, you should do that in a fashion. Show that courage. Show that the transparency. So show that that the good attitude towards the organization. So we are doing this to correct your process, right? You have to do this. Otherwise, you are having kind of a negative mindset, and you are telling you are just trying to search some audit finding and put into there. It's not viable. So your recommendation may not be very practical. Your recommendation should be practical. The audit finding should be very practical. It should make a sense to the audience. So then only you can give a service to your audit. Whatever the audit, internal or external, right? All right. So then we can move to substandard procedures on inventory. Substandard procedures on inventory. So we are planning to discuss physical verification, reconciliation, NRE testing, analysis. We can do. Right? That break we are done earlier. So we'll take a break and come. So today I am going to give that group assignment today. Our assignment take a book. Future assignment take a book there. So I will try to do that. So what you can do is I am uploading that to the LMS. and you can download it and you can easily do the assignment and upload it. So I'm not giving kind of a tight deadline. So then you can do that within a day. So normally in other class, what I am doing within the classroom session, you have to do the assignment and upload it. But for this extension session, to the extent group, what I am doing is I am giving 1 day. So you can freely download it, write the answer and upload it. It's not a pages and pages, it's just a 1-page answer. All questions, just put answer and upload it. So then these questions may be tested here up to now for the top to bottom audit content, right? So then you can understand what a self assessment එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් ආගේ යාළුවට කියන්න පුළුවන් answers ටික ගෙවන්න මමත් ඒ answers ටිකම ලියලා upload කරනවා. Then useless kind. Don't do that. Genuinely answer what ඕන යාළුවට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් answer ලියනකොට. That's not kind of a mistake. So the visual assignment means you can talk to your colleague, you can prepare reading materials, you can search Google, whatever the resources you can use, genuinely improve yourself and give the answer. That's the requirement. Understanding, right? So we'll do that way. So have a break and come. So we'll do the rest soon. Right. People who joining virtually, you can take a break and you can come back soon. With a 15-minute break. people who joined virtually, I posted that group assignments to the WhatsApp group. You all can go through that. So after getting confirmation from you all, if there's anything you want to comment or make a product expand color, then the comments. Is that I posted that draft version. So then I will upload to the LMS with the deadlines. So I'm normally putting with the cutoff date, right? With the cutoff date, you can't upload anything. So then give me your feedback. If you are okay with this assignment, we can go ahead. Right? That's the first thing. And the second thing. Individual assignment also ready. We'll discuss some more about inventory and we'll go to the individual assignment. We were discussing about substandard procedures, right? The key substandard procedure is observation inventory. Inventory observation, inventory count, stock verification, right? So as auditor, what we have to ensure the quantity and the number inventory. Quantity and the number. Cash, there's no such a count, right? Count in the sense the quantity and the number, there's no two different things. We are getting the value in one time, you can get that value, right? Cash to inventory. Cash count, you are not counting, the number of 5,000 notes there. You are counting the value. You are getting the value at that. But here, different scenario. What? Firstly, we have to get the count and we have to ensure the value. After that, So then we have to perform two different procedures for that to ensure the quantity and the value. Firstly, we ensure the quantity is there. So then we have to ensure value is correct. Keep in mind, it's totally different with the cash count. At that moment, we can ensure two things in the cash count: count and the value. We don't care about the count at least. We are caring about the value. That the value tallying with the system, right? 5,000 notes here. So we are focusing on the value. But here different. So firstly, we have to ensure the quantity and the value. To ensure the quantity, what we have to do? We have to do a physical verification of the inventory item. So then we should learn how we have to perform that. What are the understanding you should have? What is the mode you are going to do? So you should have proper understanding of planning inventory verification and concluding it. For this step, we have some different sub-steps. We have some different sub-steps. Physical inventory observation. We think about that. So what are the things? It's different with the organization to organization. Some of them are having warehouses, island-wide branches. Some of them are having, foreign branches. Different companies are there. Technology different. So then, in three different levels, you may have, the stores. Land again, land again, yata land again, stores. So that it's really difficult to verify that. Suggested procedures. We have to customize. Inventory observation is a PSP. Then that should be customized to ice cream to tire, ice cream to textile, ice cream to whatever the outcome, meat, right? So then the items, the elements of the inventory balance may be perishable items. Very, items we have to keep in high level of temperature. Some of them we have to keep in deep freezer, right? But different items are there. According to your production, according to the company production, the inventory composition may be changed. Accordingly, you have to design audit procedures, right? Audit sub procedures. But inventory observation is a basic, basic procedure. The sub process, sub activities may be designed based on the company. Right? Keep in mind that. So the way you are handling inventory observation in a hardware different with the dairy manufacturing company, meat manufacturing company. So in the hardware you are counting nut and bolts, but in the textile company you are counting finished garments, work in progress and fabric and whatever threads and the buttons you are having, right? So it's up to the organization, it's up to the auditor who are doing that audit to design what are the sub steps. So the basically what we can do, basically what we have planned about inventory count. Firstly, you should know the content of the inventory. What are the locations you have? Whether you are having warehouses, whether you are having island-wide branches, you should know the location. And then you should have a proper list or what breakup or system report or something like that. So whatever the completed stock sheet, right? And then should have proper team to observe that. What a team to island-wide stock done bad. So then you should have a proper team. And then ඒක practically arrange කරගන්න. සමහර ළමයි දැන් අද in Colombo. So you are appointing that team member to a Japanese stock verification. So then practically you have to arrange transportation them too. So at that COVID period, we had a difficulty to arrange branch visit and then stock verifications wise. So transportation issues were there. So then how we can do virtual inventory count? So virtual inventory count is there. So then we have that kind of the practical difficulty. When girl කෙනෙක් දානවා outstation inventory count. දැන් අද අපි call කරලා කියනවා lady කෙනෙකුට, so you have to visit Mana to have kind of an inventory count. So they are ready වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So those kind of repercussions are there. Traveling issues are there. Right? So then those things should be managed once you are planning an inventory verification. So after having a proper setup, what you can do is you can inform to Audit. So we are planning to visit, observe your inventory verification. Not you are counting inventory, right? Keep in mind. So auditor going there and counting inventory is not a procedure. What you are doing? You are observing inventory count. Observing and getting a verification. So the 100% inventory count should be done by the manager. I am comfortable about that because from grade 2 onwards we had accounting papers, right? Accounting papers with trial balance. What is your common adjustment unit? Closing inventory balance this much. That is the very old, very common adjustment. Closing inventory balance this much. Why you are having such kind of adjustment? Common adjustment. For the inventory also asset. Cash also asset. PPT also asset. But in that time, the trial balance we have a year-end PP balance this month. Year-end cash balance, cash is still this month. Why you don't have that? Adjustment.
Always there is a question in the system.
So how about that? Cash. Cash was paid. The existence about cash, much risky than the existence about inventory. Yes.
Cash was
Take obsolete. So that we have that.
we have to think whether this event can be sold or can be used to manufacture. Or we have to get the
That's a good response. So then cash year-end receivable also getting changed during the period because we are selling to them, we are giving discount, they are settling cash. Interest also change. Year-end we don't have kind of a adjustment. Year-end receivable balance this month. What's the making there are adjustment to some extent correct. You have to elaborate this and compare and get an understand. What are I making the adjustment. What's the reason? They are giving adjustment only for the stock. Why? Can you capital adjustment? Mama, inventory count is a must PP count is additional. You can do PP count or not, it's option. Better to have a PP count, half and a year, once in a year, quarterly, better, but it's not a must. You can skip the inventory count, the PPI count, but you can't skip inventory count. It's a must. Why? Amazon is my inventory here as why? Reason. Hey, become practical here, ready, theoretical answer. That's a benefit of is the inventory count. Correct. And then don't have inventory. We don't have a continuing account in accounting. Correct. We don't have a continuous account. Why? So we have opening inventory account. Are we putting transaction entries to that account? No, right? Once you are purchasing, you are keeping in a different account. Right? Once you are returning, you have a different account. Opening the account, keep it aside. And then so we are putting entries, we are keeping different accounts for inventory. Or the other here, they are keeping different accounts. So then opening balance, purchase balance, and we are returning it to the production sales. So purchase and sales and here. Two different reasons is why. We are dealing with two different numbers. Right. Adding the cost, removing the profitability. If you are keeping in a one account, you are keeping that in a one account, debit may be in cost, credit may be selling price. In the inventory account. Because of that, you are not recording in a one account. You have different account here and there. Opening inventory, purchases, return, sales. Right? You are summarizing all those things and where you are summarizing that in the trade account. Trade account is a summary of inventory account. If you are keeping a cash account, how about that? Opening cash balance is there, debit here, credit here. In balance is here. Wow, we can calculate cash count and but inventory so complex. Why two different values? You can't do the same activity for inventory. I agree with me. Opening balance, purchases, sales, you can't account in one account because two different numbers, cost versus price. So they are keeping here and there. So the end of the day, actually you can't, summarize this. So you can't get a, you are arriving with a kind of a different, if you are, the balance in this account, you can't get a value. For that, what you have to do? You have to get a physical available inventory account and get it to the trade account and calculate cost of it, right? And then only you can calculate gross margin. So that's the main reason. There's a must. The must reason for doing a stock verification. That's the main reason. That's why we have to do. Then as auditor, what we have to do? We have to participate for observation. Yes, is it? Then the react you match check you can think freely. That's the practice, right? Okay. So then I discuss what are the areas you need to focus about inventory observation, right? I have mentioned those things as well. So audit procedures at the inventory count. So these are the basic audit procedures. Planning the inventory count, review of inventory count instructions, and then attendance at inventory count, following up the inventory count, following up the inventory count. Yes, these are steps. Here we have elaborate other areas. If you want to get an expert knowledge for inventory count, yes, some occasions. Normal inventory count, so then we should have a proper support from experts. If you are doing your inventory verification at Petroleum Corporation, but from last week you are a tank because you have Baladawater here in the back. So I did audit at here. One of the feed meal company. So they have corn. So the bulky corn stores. So they have stored those things in a kind of a cylinder, right? So then Dala Tiano Piano. So then they are counting by using kind of number of kilos, number of tons they have, right? So in this kind of a cylinder, so this kind of a tank, how much of corn they can store? That's a kind of a calculation, right? And then you have to ensure that the quality, make the expire will happen. You have to ensure you should have kind of a understanding of that. So to do that, you should have a proper expert. So then, once you are visiting petroleum corporation, water, diesel, petrol tier. So ඒක වාට තේරෙනව නේද? ඇටි කොච්චර තියෙනවද? So the weight, number of liters they have. So it's a kind of calculation. To do that, you should have a proper understanding about maths. If you are comfortable enough with that, it's okay to perform. So then some occasions you may require the expert. And then one way exam question is related. If you are question in the exam, if it is a complex inventory. So as a human being, as an auditor, professional chartered accountant, he may not have that expert knowledge. So then you can suggest if that audit manager doesn't have that much of knowledge about that area, he has suggested you to have an expert knowledge. Right? So you can suggest. Likewise, so the likewise you can use these steps once you are planning your inventory observation. Right? Once you are doing inventory observation, please ensure to do flow to sheet, sheet to flow size. And again, flow to sheet, sheet to flow. So before you are going to inventory verification, you have inventory list, right? So you are selecting sample and you can check that sample in the flow. And what we are going to do is, you can select the sample from the flow and check the sheet. So you have to ensure the completeness of the sheet. Sometimes flow again and sheet එකක් තමයි දෙන්නේ. ඔයා sheet එකේ තියෙන ටික බලන්නාට පස්සේ මෙහි තව inventory තියෙනවා වෙන company. කියන්නේ inventory භාගයේ books වලට අවශ්‍යයි. So then how we are going to capture that? So you have to do kind of exercise flow to sheet. From flow to sheet, you are ensuring the completeness of the sheet. Sheet to flow, ensuring the cleanness of the flow. Right? So the dual side, you have to perform that. Keep in mind, there's a question related to verification. Please make sure to write flow to sheet, sheet to flow. If I'm seeing that answer, I have full marks at the bottom, right? If you have a question related to this kind of area, so what are the concerned areas? What are the steps you have to plan for inventory count? So that is different with what are the areas you are going to plan for inventory balance, right? Inventory count is a one of the procedure for inventory balance, right? So that for inventory balance, you have to perform this procedure, right? That's why I'm asking you to be careful, read carefully the question. So what are the procedures you are planning to verify the inventory balance this? From that one procedure is physical inventory observation. Once you are doing physical inventory observation, those are the steps you have to follow and area need to focus. That's the one step under substantive procedures. Keep in mind. Inventory verification වෙන තැනක ඉගෙනගෙන මේක වෙන තැනක ඉගෙනගෙන TOC වෙන තැනක ඉගෙන ගන්න එපා. It's a one process. As auditor, we decided to do TOC. After doing TOC, we know the control environment of the entity, right? So we are comfortable. They have security features, they have asset list, system is correct, all the things verified to TOC. Now we are comfortable enough. Now we are planning inventory observation, right? So what are the steps for inventory observation? What are things you have to follow? After you doing, you can't stop. Why? You only ensure the number of items, number of quantity. Then we have to move. reconciliation. Next step. What's the reconciliation? Physical versus the system reconciliation, right? So then, what you did? You ensure the physical count and the inventory list, right? So then you need to do for 100%. So that will be done by the management. You have to take that reconciliation. Physical versus system. If there's no reconciling item means you have that comfort about physical one and the system one. So you have the quantity, you have the confirmation as audited. Then only you have then you have to focus about what? NRV testing. NRV testing for what? To ensure the value. Inventory value versus quantity. අපි cash කරන්න ඕන කරන්නේ නැහැ. So දැක්ක තමයි බලලා ensure කරන්න තමයි. So then we have to do the NRV testing. So how are you going to do NRV testing? So that's too difficult. Inventory count may be easy. So you have to just count and see. First step, right? With the barcode and whatever the technology you have, you can see and you can count them. But the NRV testing may be difficult. So you should have a proper listing, cost column, NRV assessment of the content. You have to use both NRV and cost value slower. So that calculation should be received from auditee to auditor, and you have to select a sample and evaluate that calculation based on the sample. So how you are going to evaluate that? Now, you can select a sample, and what you can do is you can check market prices about related items, and you can how can get the market prices? The market you can get from the the comparable some competitors are there from different or whatever the websites you can get the sellable value, and from that particular company you can check the recent selling transaction, right? Selling transaction, what's the agreed price? That's the net realizable value of this segment. You can do kind of independent test in the sample, and then you are deciding for the management net realizable value calculation. Is correct? That's how we have to perform that NRV testing. So then I can ask a question related to this as auditor. How we are going to perform NRV testing for manufacturing company. මම එතකොට මේ ලෙක්චර් එකේ නෝට් එකේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ නැහැ. නෝට් එකේ දීලා නැහැ. ලෙක්චර් එකේ කියලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට මේ අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩින් එක වලට තේරෙනවා. දැන් කොහොමද එහෙම ආවොත් පුළුවන්ද? අගින්න දෙන්නේ. දැන් එහෙම බලන් ඉන්න. So how we are going to do NRV testing for manufacturing company. First, you have to get the inventory portfolio, which was used for the inventory count, which was reconciled to the physical inventory. Otherwise, no point. How should be ensured? The next step is the value. Now we are going to do the value, right? Firstly, we have to get a inventory list already available. It should be ensured to a physical observation. And then, so the count is perfect now. Now we are going to do the value. And then we should have the cost column and the NRV column. Select a sample by representing key items. And then you have to ensure the cost as well. Check the GRA and ensure the cost used for the system. Why purchase cost. So you have to ensure the cost first, right? And then ensure a sample of NRV. So then select a sample and check the independent testing over the net realizable value. So some instance you don't have net realizable value. So what's the instance? Or government take WIP value. Government take WIP now. Government take WIP is a part of inventory, right? In the government, WIP is part of inventory. WIP, there is no such market. No, it's no net realizable value. Typical, right? So then halfway through government item, we don't have a market. So the market is absolutely we have to value that. So then what we are going to do? We have to have a kind of the standard costing formula to ensure that. So the incurred cost, we are having kind of an assumption that incurred cost equal to the net realizable value. Assumption. So then, based on that assumption, we have to ensure that the value. What is standard cost formula? Standard cost formula. And this stage, this is the standard cost we have to incur to this carbon item. We have used this much of the cloth, part of a cloth, and then we have 3 buttons here, threads, and the labor cost and the standard overhead cost. We can absorb that to the partly completed item. What's the cost? In that stage, what is the cost? Standard cost. So in an organization, there should have separate stages for WIP. What are the WIP in the cutting section? What are the WIP in the sewing section? What's the WIP in the packing section? 3 different stages, 3 different standard cost formula. Right? Keep in mind, if there's a case study related to a garment, you have to address as a student, you have to address that side. So that much of complicated. So I am searching the people who are getting this knowledge, people who are linking this knowledge to the core outcome, right? Through the example, right? Right. Okay. So other things, analysis, I will discuss what are the analysis you can do, how you can basically edge analysis. You can understand the non-moving items like that. Bill and hold inventory item, standard costing. Some more things will be discussed in next upcoming week. We are doing fast things, so we are spending more time on inventory. Why is the key balance? Most of the companies, they are playing around inventory balance. We can manipulate, gross margin, and gross margin can be manipulated with the target of manipulating net margin, so that we can manipulate standard costing. That's a kind of a risky area. That's why we are spending more time with understanding about inventory. So we understood. We have to be very real, right? පොතේ තියෙන එක ඉගෙන ගන්න එපා. ඇයි? ඒක ක්වෙස්චන් එක අහන්න. ඇයි මේක ඇඩ්ජස්ට්මන්ට් එක අපි දෙන්නේ? Why we are doing this? Cost and NRB. Why we are doing that way? What's the reason? We can use the NRB database. So we have answer for those things. As auditor, you should justify everything. You have to be very it's very easy to be accountant, I guess. But be an auditor may be difficult, right? We have to explain things. We have to justify. We have to understand the erroneous calculation, the statements. We have to lead the accountant as well, right? So then auditing is a kind of a typical subject more than accounting. You should know accounting plus audit procedures. You have to be, if you want to be a good auditor, you have to be a good accountant first. Then only you can check balances. So those things will be discussed in the next lecture. So now I am going to give an individual assignment. I will upload to LMS. you can, get that and write your answer. Take a picture, upload to the level, right? But easily run short answers. Then go through so it will be tested your available knowledge. You can have kind of self-assessment whether you are with the class or not. You are, it will tested, are you a hybrid student or not? Hybrid means physically, intellectually, virtually, you are with the class. Or physically, ළමයි වගේ ඉන්නවද? Audit ticket එක ගන්නවද? නැත්ද? කියන එක set කරගෙන දෙනවා ඔබ අහලා දෙන question. So those are practical, you have to think. And you just simple answer. Why when I දැකලා or read කරලා යාළුවගෙන් අහලාදී answer කරගන්න. ඒකට යාළුවගෙන් අහන්නේ කියන්නේ. So just to take of giving answer, don't ask from the friend. Understand it and give the answer. Then only from this onwards you can understand. Taking or improve වෙන්න ඕන. නිකන් assignment එකේ ලකුණු ගත්ත කියන temporary සතුට ගන්න කරන්න එපා assignment එක ඊට වඩා හොඳයි නොකර ඉන්න. At least you can learn that is the final. So take it as a kind of positive thing and improve it from the side, right? That's an example. Other type thing and never, right? So you can get that as a positive thing, right? You can take a paper and put your index number and paper, or you can use your note. You can take a picture and upload, right? I don't want the typical this thing. You can just upload. It's up to you. You can do it now and take a photo and upload. So I'm giving kind of a 1 day. 1 day means tomorrow this time. In that period you can do. If you want to leave, you can leave. It's better to do that now, right? Really difficult so at the time. If you have difficult question, what I are looking at right? So that's my advice. The people who are joining virtually, they should know where we are now. They can, we can put that in a message to the group, and people who are joining virtually, all the people should know today we have did an assignment, and within today we have to upload. Otherwise, the virtual people can't complain. Thing is, because they are giving assignment, we don't know. So there can't be students virtually without any idea about the lectures or end of the lecture series. They are ready for reading this slide and facing for exams. So that is not accepted. People should know what's the content today we did. Any time, right? That's why I'm giving 1 day. So after giving 1 day, there's no excuse, right? So the people who are coordinating, the coordinator in the classroom should communicate them. We did the assignment. Please upload the soft copy to Excel, right? That's the basic requirement. So they all are in one, one learning platform. All are on track. We have done with planning and risk assessment. We have completed the assignment. That's the expectation. You can get the assignment and check it, answer it, upload it. Then can looking like an basic answer, right? The first thing for the answer is all it does have to say that then they make a later matter. They know they didn't have the far, right? That's a matter. So that's complicated. So the can use the technology. Download the move it download others can see people who can't log in. Make sure to have your login with you, right? There's a simple thing. Okay. Opening right. Just a small statement. You can put the number and mention that whether you can agree with that or not. There's no answers. You can say agree, you can say yes, whatever the thing. Don't go and write this statement, right? Don't want to write this statement and put agree. Just put the number and say you disagree. Now my parents are use the right here. Examining that. Don't do that. Okay. Put the number, mention whether you are going to agree or not. This is very tricky, right? Very tricky. Knowledge use ask your friend. There is that correct or not? Some are very easy. Some are difficult. Answer that can might answer agree or not. You decide. No need to give the reason. Reason will be tested in the essay type exam in the final test. Answer is individually and get average risk to the industry, government for the industry. There will be specific risk to particular organizations, but don't need to highlight that. It may be a specific area for the particular team, right? You can say kind of a statement in the group industry planning. So some of the companies having some more that we see so that's how they to design specific procedure for that. Let's say just making hotel industry. Hotel industry company investment. Investment in restricted land board. So there's a high risk related to that, but it's not nothing in the industry. So it's like the investment management company plus hotel. And that's high risk related to that as well. Then that part may be addressed separately. That's to do it that way. We need a kind of a strategical plan for particular example. What are the areas of other working less working to do? What are the strategy you are planning? So that way you get the plan. What are the steps? What are the focus areas? This may be the area the management can play around. So that's what I told you. Strategy for හොඳටම වැඩ කරලා වෙන්න පුළුවන් ආන්සර්ස් ටික ලියලා දාන්න ගෲප් එකට. මම නැති ගෲප් එකට. ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක කරාම එයාට ලොකු රිස්ක් එකක් ගන්නවා. අනිත් ළමයිට ලොකු රිස්ක් එකක් ගන්නවා. In the assignment level as well as career level and this whole subject level. තාවකාලිකව සතුට වෙන්න පුළුවන්. People who are joining virtually, are you okay with the instruction? I hope you are attending this thing. So if you are in a position, if you are not in a position to attend, keep that posted to your colleagues. So we have given a assignment, so given a kind of a 1 day period. So then take a piece of paper and upload it. So that you have to, write. Don't put any paper in the typing mode. Word, Excel not accepted. Why? A document එක මට අඳුර ගන්න බෑ වගේ handwriting. Don't do it in your laptop or whatever the Word document. You have to write it and upload because you have to do the end exam by writing mode, the live mode, right? The final paper also should write and upload.
So can we ask any doubtful areas or we have to do it individually?
Ask will you what about the doubt? So I can't give that exact answer. So the doubt can be clear.
Backtesting procedures mean
Yes, backtesting procedures. So that's a area I didn't do actually. So I touch upon that where I discuss that. So once you are doing estimates, once you are planning audit procedures for estimates, have we discussed that? Have we discussed? Yes. We discussed audit planning for estimates, going concern, related party. Those areas were discussed. And once you are planning for estimates, audit procedures, batch testing is a key procedure. Why? Batch testing means whatever the estimate you are doing, as auditor, we have to ensure that you can backtest the previous estimate they have done. Why? The estimated results you can see now. Previous estimate results you can see. For the last 2 years, they have done kind of a inventory provision. Now you can see there's inventory write-off. You can backtest that, ensure that your completeness of your estimate process. That testing is kind of a procedure like that. Understood? So as example, you have a asset, let's say motorbike. You are using an estimate like 12 years. You can use this useful lifetime of it just 12 years. Now you are in the 10th year. 10th year. So then you can take back this whatever the depreciated amount. How is the performance of the now vehicle? What you can use? What's the remaining period you can use this asset? So that you can assume that this can be used for another 10 years. Right? You are doing a kind of back testing. The depreciation amount we put is incorrect. So before 12 years back, before 10 years back, we assume that we are using this for only 12 years. But we can use for another 10 years. Kind of a back testing. So whatever the estimate we have done, we can test with the actual results. It confirms your estimate process. Are you okay? I hope that is clear.
yes, sir. It's clear.
පාට වගේ යාළුවත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඕන ඉස්සරහ කන්නට පස්සේ ගිහින් වාඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. පස්සේ කන්නට ඉස්සරහට ඇවිල්ලා වාඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. You can decide and improve, get the understanding and write it. කියන්නේ දැන් අපේ ඉන්නෝනේ මම මුකුත් අහන්නේ නැහැ කට්ටියගෙන් අහන්නේ නැහැ. In an organization, we have to talk to each other. If there's a problem, right? So then you can come up with the perfect answer. That's the attitude you have to spread it. Yes. Basically, one word, the qualification may be changed. Directly, the word can decide based on that whether we are going to reject that directly or not. Directly is the word. Here, upload करके delete कर देना मैं यहाँ डलवाऊंगी. Upload it again. You make that mention updated. Rename it updated, right? I can see the updated version within the day, right? The day. So people who are joining virtually, for today, that's it. I hope that you can upload the answers to the LMS. Take that message to your colleagues to upload that within the day. Within the day, if you are unable to upload, there's no excuse. You can think around there. There's no other option. Right. That's it. Okay.